Welcome to the 2017 deliberative session for the Penny Baker Regional School District. My name is Quentin Blaine. I'm the moderator for the district. And we'll start this meeting with a pledge of allegiance. Flag right to the side of the I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A reminder to anyone here that you should check in with the supervisors of the checklist to register to vote. Are there any people here who are not registered voters of the school district? Okay, thank you, Bruce. Okay, thank you. My rules I've been using year after year. We don't have them written out for you tonight, but I have my copy for 2013 or 14 or something. But they're different than the Robert's Rules of Order. The purpose of this meeting is to review the warrant articles that have been put together by the school board, and we can discuss them, and if there are amendments, we will vote on amendments. But the final vote, this is the deliberative session, so the final vote, because we're SB2, will be on Election Day, which is Tuesday, March 14th. So, please have all questions come through the moderator, which is me. Please use the microphone, and each time you're up there, state your name and your town of residence, please, because I guess we're being videoed for maybe the local PB cam station. And so I'll open the meeting. The first article is a bond article, and just for your information, bond articles usually require a majority vote, a supermajority vote to pass, but we're not going to be voting on the bond itself. If we vote on any amendments, it would be by majority vote on amendments, and is not required to have a ballot vote on amendments either, so we would be doing it by a voice vote. So Article 1 is bonds and notes for the CTE area. To see if the school district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $8,547,251 for the renovation of the CTE Center vocational wing, and to authorize the issuance of not more than $8,547,251 of bonds and notes in accordance with the provisions of the Municipal Finance Act, RSA 33, and to authorize the school board to issue and negotiate such bonds or notes and to determine the rate of interest thereon, and further to raise and appropriate $43,958 for the payments due during the 2017-2018 school year. The school board recommends this article. Is there a motion?
I'll move the article.
Second?
I'll second that, Quentin.
Okay. So the article's been moved and seconded, and now it's open for discussion on the floor. Is there any discussion? Mr. Moderator. Mr. Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. For those who don't know me, I'm Mark Allen, I'm the superintendent of schools in SAU 48. And thank you for coming out tonight. All of you, I think, have a copy of the outline that we have presented for you. The boards in front of you, the supervisors of the checklist, they represent everything that's in the central part of this. But I don't want to read this to you, but let me give you a brief highlight of what we're trying to do. The CTE wing of this building was built in 1983, and basically we have not done, as a district, we have not done any major renovations or updating of the building since the original construction. We have done some minor aesthetic work, but mostly we haven't done anything. We went for a bond vote 2 or 3 years ago, and we need, as the moderator said, we needed 60% of the vote. We got approximately 58% of the vote on that vote. And so we waited a couple of years. during that period of time, we put a brand new roof on the building, and we also changed the heating system for the entire complex from number 2 fuel oil to biomass with a propane backup. And we're very pleased with the results of those energy savings along with the lighting project. But both of those projects were fully funded by the district. And if they had gone through the bond process, we would have gotten 75% state aid on them. But we really couldn't wait on the roof, and we went through the private sector for financing for the biomass project, and actually the energy savings for the next 18 years will actually pay for the cost of the project. So we felt that those two projects made sense to do right away. And what we'd like to do here is very simply to summarize for you the project, as the moderator read the article. The total cost of the project is $8.5 million, which is sort of a staggering sum to all of us. But the state funding will be $5.3 million. And we will be, the local contribution over a 10-year period, we will go out into the bond market, and that contribution will be $3.1 million. So basically, for the 8.5 million, local tax dollars will pay 3.1 million. Now, if we can't get this done, and I said as the bond hearing, we don't mean to be extorting anybody. It's just a fact of the condition of the building. If you turn your form to the second page, you will see the deferred maintenance that we have put off. And when you look at the total cost of the deferred maintenance alone, a little over $2.6 million, and you look at the new equipment and for the programs that we need for the present programs, it's about $412,000. And then the replacement of the trom wall, which is on the southeastern side of the building, that was a passive solar project that was really never put together. And what it does is it attracts tremendous amount of heat during the summer, and it forces the cooling costs up. And in the winter, quite frankly, it doesn't help us much at all. So we'll be replacing that for $250,000. So the deferred maintenance of this project alone is about $3.3 million if we were to go it alone and to fix the problems of the building and quite frankly to patch the building for 10 to 15 years. If we do the renovation completely, the life expectancy of all of the systems that we have would be 20 to 25 years, well above the length of time that we were going to pay it back over 10. So if you're going to be a resident for the long haul here, it makes an awful lot of sense to vote yes on this project, given that $5.3 million of the project will be paid for by state aid. Now, some folks have heard that state building aid has been capped, and that's true. The state building program for regular school buildings is currently capped. There's no state aid for buildings. This is a federal program, so this comes from the federal government through the state for what we know as vocational programs. So that's the program. So if someone says, well, that program's capped, it's not that program. So that's one thing I wanted to make clear to everybody. Bruce Parsons, the principal, will walk you through some of the changes and the renovations for the academic program. And then a little bit later, Dan Rostner will talk to you a little bit about the financing. And then, Mr. Moderator, we'd be happy to respond to any questions about the project. John Francis, our facilities director, is also here. If I may?
Sure, certainly.
Yep, Bruce?
Yes.
Good evening, Bruce Parsons, the principal of Plymouth Regional High School. And again, thank you for coming out in this inclement weather. I know you have your brochure. If you could turn to the inside cover, and I will walk you briefly. We have 5 career tech educational programs at this high school. As I've been here a long time, we used to call it the Vocational Center. It's now called Career Tech. Out of the 650 students that attend this high school, approximately 265 students participate in those programs. They're a 2-year program. You have to be at least 16 years of age to participate in them, and I'll briefly walk you through them. The 5 programs we have right now are drafting, automotives, culinary arts, marketing, health occupation, and the new program that we started 3 years ago, it's only one piece of it. It's called video editing. It will later be changed into communication and broadcasting. And as you can see through the architect's drawings with all the blue, basically in a nutshell, we're not enlarging, we're not going, as Mark said, anywhere past this square, staying within the square footage of this building. What these programs are desperately getting is a classroom within their center, their lab. Presently, they don't have that. If you went down to the automotive program and you went in, there are only 2 lifts in there that are accommodating 18 students in there. When they have to use the classroom, they have to go outside and go to another part of the building to use that classroom. If you can see the architect's conceptual drawings on that, you will see that there is a classroom now based within there. And as you go forward and look through those, you'll see that a classroom is based with all of those programs. Now keep in mind, there are 2 pieces to that. There's the lab piece to that particular program, and then there is the classroom piece. As I stated before, if you look the communications and media piece, that is going to be housed on the bottom floor, and that will include a broadcasting area, a communication piece, a video editing, graphic piece that is extremely popular in this high school. If you look on the main floor too, you will also see health occupation, where our students are receiving LNA certification and others. What basically we're doing there people, is we're adding a bathroom, that is a teachable facility that these students need to have as they take care of when they go into that profession and their life skills. All the other programs, the culinary arts, the marketing, they're just aesthetics. We're moving, but again, they're getting a classroom within. In just a brief history, there are 18 career tech education centers in the state of New Hampshire. 18. 16 have taken advantage of this program. 16 of the regional centers have done. There are only 2 left, White Mountains and Plymouth Regional High School. As Mark said, we have not done any major changes to that program. It's an extremely beneficial program to our students. And again, I offer not only to the people here, but I put it out to the community that if they would like a tour, there's nothing better to see exactly what we propose in doing than seeing it firsthand. Please call my office and I will personally take you and answer your questions as we go on there. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Parsons. Is there any further discussion?
Dan?
Mark?
Mr. Rosser?
Mr. Ross?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Dan Ross, I'm the business administrator for the SAU. The proposal for financing the project that we are putting forth includes, as the superintendent said, over $5 million in federal funds through the state, leaving approximately $3.1 million that would be financed through the issuance of a bond through the New Hampshire Municipal Bond Bank, payable over 10 years. The $43,000 that you see referenced in the article is for the interest payment for the first year, because during the first year of the project, while the funds are being expended, we would not be making the principal payments. So coming forth to the second year of the project, when the first principal and interest payment would be made, that amount would be totaling $396,000. And we have a graphic that I believe the cable station has already that they're putting through for the broadcast, showing the impact of that payment on the tax rate of each town. And I just want to be clear that that first year is the largest payment. Over the 10-year course of the note, that payment would decrease every year. So the pennies you see in that graphic for the tax rate of each town would decrease every year over the 10 years. And that would finance the project for the portion that's local after the federal funds, which come through at the time of the project, not over the life of the note. So you're paying a smaller interest amount over the 10 years because the principal has already been paid down by the federal government.
Mr. Halloran.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. So really, in summary, the warrant article will be going out, it'll be number one on the warrant. There is a brochure here tonight, and it'll be all over the district, and we will be making presentations in a number of the towns. But the real summary of the project is on page one. And what I want to reiterate to folks is this is not an expansion of the building. There will be a new stairwell to meet fire codes, but there is no expansion of the building, and that there are no new jobs with this program. This is a renovation of this building. There are no new jobs coming in with this. So it is a real, true renovation as you would do in your house. And we believe that this renovation is a cost-effective way of doing this, and also will take care of the district's needs in this part of the building for 20 to 25 years. So we appreciate you considering this. We did have a question today called in, and that was, what do you guys do if this gets defeated? What we do in a very symptomatic way is merely pick off the deferred maintenance one by one over the course of 10 years. And we would pay the $3 million or whatever it is, basically on a cash basis over 10 years. So just like we did with the roof. So that in and of itself will be relatively painful because it will be patched, but we'll do the best we can with it, obviously. But I think as a longtime taxpayer here and hopefully into the future, this makes tax sense for all of us who are going to live here for quite some time. So thank you, Mr. Moderator, and any of us would be open to any questions.
Are there any questions or any further discussion?
I'd like to know,
Okay.
Kate Hansen from Holderness, I'd just like to know what percentage of the current high school population uses the voc tech services?
265 months.
There are about 265 students out of 650K. And I'm not as sharp as I used to be, so I can't do that division in my head to get the percentage, but probably around 40% roughly. And it's open to all of our students. One of the things we're very proud of is, people used to have a view of vocational programs as being for kids that were certainly going out into the job market. It's not that way anymore. Every kid here, no matter what their future is interested in one of these programs. And so it's a nice blend, it's a nice mixture of kids that are in these programs. And we also, we do have kids from Newfound that come to the Voc Center, and we get tuition money for that.
15 to 25 kids.
Any further questions or discussion? Well, not seeing any further discussion or questions, there have been no amendments proposed, and so this article will be on the ballot as written. And it brings us to Article 2. Negotiate and execute tuition contracts. To see if the school district will vote to authorize the school board to negotiate and execute such tuition contracts as the board may determine advisable for students inside or outside the Pemmy-Baker Regional School District. The school board recommends this article. Is there a motion?
Mr. Moderator, I make a motion to accept this article. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Do we have discussion? Any questions for the school board? Seeing no questions or discussions, and no amendments have been put forward, then this article will appear on the ballot as written. Article 3. To see if the school district will vote to authorize and empower the school board to borrow up to $104,000, representing a portion of the state of New Hampshire's share of special education costs for the 2017-2018 school year, pursuant to RSA 198:20-D, upon such terms and conditions as the school board determines in the best interest of the district. Said sum, together with the cost of borrowing, to be repaid by the state of New Hampshire pursuant to RSA 198:20-D, or to take any action in relation thereto. The school board recommends this article. Is there a motion?
Yes, moderator, I'd like to make a motion to move this article.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on Article 3? Any questions for the school board? Not seeing any discussion or questions, and there have been no amendments put forward, so the article will appear on the warrant as written. Brings us to Article 4, to see if the school district will vote to establish a contingency fund in accordance with the revised statutes annotated 198:4-B. Such contingency fund to meet the cost of unanticipated expenses that may arise during the year, and further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,000 for such contingency fund. The school board recommends this article. Is there a motion?
Yes, Mr. Moderator, I move Article 4 is read.
Article 4 is moved, second.
Second.
They've been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or questions for the school on Article 4? Seeing no discussion or questions and no amendment has been put forward, Article 4 will appear on the ballot as written. Article 5, teacher agreement. To see if the school district will vote to approve the cost items included in a special collective bargaining agreement reached between the school board and the Plymouth Regional Educators Association, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits. In the year 2017-2018, the estimated increase is $112,162. The year 2018-2019, the estimated increase is $112,782. Year 2019-2020, the estimated increase is $113,967. In year 2020 to 2021, the estimated increase is $115,913. And further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $112,162 for the 2017-2018 fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits over those of the appropriation at current staffing levels, in accordance with the most recent collective bargaining agreement. The school board recommends this article. Is there a motion?
Moderator, I move the article as read.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Article 5 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or any questions for the school board? Seeing no discussion and no questions, and there has been no amendment offered, so Article 5 will appear on the ballot as written. Which brings us to Article 6, the operating budget. Shall the Penny-Baker School District vote to raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth in the budget posted with the warrant, or as amended by the vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $14,189,482. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $13,988,218, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the Penny-Baker Regional School Board or by law, or by the governing body, may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13, Roman numeral 10 and 16, to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. Is there a motion?
Yes, Quinn, I move Article 6.
Is it seconded?
Second.
Article 6 is moved and seconded. Does anybody have any questions for the school board or discussion about Article 6?
I was just wondering what the increase from last year or so reflects.
Mr. Howard?
Okay, I think there was some goldenrod copies over there, but the total increase on assessment is 1.159%, about $139,000. This is very much a status quo budget in terms of programming and everything. It reflects some minor increases here and there and some deductions in some other areas. But with the bond project, we tried to hold everything where it's at. We absorbed some significant increases in the state retirement system, also medical insurance, though the school board did a terrific job in negotiating the contract that everyone will be voting on. So there's some medical savings in there, but our rates are projected at 8.1% as a guaranteed maximum rate. Last year at this time, they were projected at about 7.4%, and they came in at about 4.3%, so we're hoping that number goes a little bit lower. But in terms of the faculty, we're up a 0.8 position in world languages that's budgeted. We actually have that position this year, and we've moved some money around in order to fund that, but we've put it into the budget for next year, and that's just to do increases in students who want to take world language. But all in all, what it's basically the same projects that we've had in the past.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, and there's been no amendments put forward, so the Article 6 will appear on the ballot as written. Which brings us to the end of the meeting, and I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Okay, we stand adjourned. Thank you very much for your attendance tonight.